Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's live stream. I'm sure you had an eventful evening. Which way's Bitcoin gonna go? Jesus. Not that you've been particularly lended many opportunities for entry today. I think we really need to look at a shorter time frame to capture exactly what's happening here. 15 minutes going to be completely over. Well, actually, wow, look at that. We actually have a clear reading. Okay, well, Lake Cat's going to work down here. That's really nice. I thought that this huge move here would have completely overexpanded everything on our indicator, but that's not the case. I'm trying to figure out how much I want these readings consolidated. 3 hour might do the trick. Well, if it's showing on the 15-minute, we should use the 15-minute. Goodness, that's a very nice trend-defining pivot. Yeah, that developed a lot faster than I thought it would. Condition if we continued any lower from this perspective. The problem is we're getting this double expansion where you have the first plume of mass generation, which is here, and then the second one, which is this. And it makes it really hard to define trend if you don't have, one, just a consistent move, or two, you get this double expansion, right? Because we're technically blasting through volatility overhead all at once in a single move that was generated just moments before, right? Because when you get an initial expansion, you are increasing the width of your distributions across the board, right? And then the period look back takes that information and then normalizes the overall perspective of width, right? So perspective of width, if we're in a very compressed range, do you see how this small move here, if you suddenly get an increase in that data set, well, obviously that counts as technically being wide distributions, because from those previous candles, a increasing expansion of that set of distributions appears to be quite large. So when you get re-expansion directly after you've had expansion, your perspective is no longer, I want to use the word homogeneous. It's a little pretentious, but it works. Because you're now including this expansion when you're calculating this one. So if this happened a little bit more smoothly, we would get a clearer reading because the expansions wouldn't be registering based off of rapidly increasing points. That might be a little bit much to grasp, but my point is, like, if we get this here, sure, that's typically fine. We can use the reading. But do you notice how this move here is larger than this move here? Yet based on the previous 100 candles, our data set is defined by these values. Whereas in this previous example, our data set was defined by these values, which is just like a 3% range. So doing this on the lower time frame actually isn't ideal, right? It's tempting because we're getting very immediate results. I wouldn't bet on it just yet. I would actually use a more consolidated reading with a better perspective on the volatility. But even here, we're getting this converse expansion because Okay, here's the problem I'm running into. I would like to define this compression area range as 100 candles. I could probably do it. Let's go to the 1 hour. 1 hour might do the trick. I typically don't worry about period look back this heavily, but you know, we're still including that previous data. I guess it's going to be the 30-minute chart. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to exclude this drop here while still gaining the perspective of this compression here. "30-minute might do it from the looks of it, because this here is pretty neatly consolidated compared to the previous line of volatility overhead. Yeah, this is usable. I'm going to do, 30 minutes fine. And it's pretty benchmark as well. Yeah, in theory, we should bounce here. Now, I typically don't like playing this, because even if we activate the mean inversion condition, Bitcoin can still oscillate directly on the pivot, catching swing highs and swing lows. So even if we enter a bearish condition, I'd wait for the swing high to try to short it. And let's be honest, this is a pretty bullish move in the macro perspective, so I am hesitant to play against it. I'm really not inclined to try and play this all that much. Sorry, guys. Because if we actually do see upward trend continuation here, just be a textbook bait and switch. Well, I mean, it's really easy to create those narratives, isn't it? All right, I'm going to create two narratives, and they're both technically going to be quote-unquote correct. So, one, we get a bear flag. We get a flag, and we have a downward break, and then we create a bear flag, and then we see another downward break. What happens? People short the hell out of that, right? So everybody's stop loss is just going to be on the other side of the flag around here. So if someone pushes price up, you get very explosive upward price action, and then it doesn't sustain itself because it wasn't actually buying pressure. It was just a lack of liquidity to the upside, right? That's one scenario. Okay, scenario B. You get someone who pushes price down intentionally because they intend to push price up, because they know if they push price down, the move to the upside will be more explosive and see more bullish volume if you have more liquidations to the upside. Right, so I just described the same thing, but I painted one as a bullish scenario and I painted the other as a bearish scenario. Which one's correct? Huh? I can't tell you. Right, because if I told you bullish or bearish, I would just be painting to my bias, and I don't really have a bias right now. I want to be bullish, and I'm still in longs, but I'm kind of just riding this upside at the moment, right? I'm in positive P&L here, and I'm saying, hey, I'm willing to stop out in profit, worst case scenario, but I'm just going to let it run because we could very well see significant long-term upside, especially with this kind of volume. And it's, you know, you're trying to analyze the volume and you say, is it just a lack of liquidity to the upside from a bunch of stop losses, or is this actually buying pressure? And if you, I really can't tell today, right? Because we don't have clear readings on 3D Wave PM or ACAT. It's just a lot of risk and a whole bunch of upside. And I'm gonna stop out. You know, if we see longer term mean reversion, cool. 15-minute chart longer term, that's funny. If we stop out, okay, shoot. Oh, I do not like this. Who knows, guys? I don't. Well, I have a good entry, and I'm going to stay along simply because there's very little reason for me not to, other than losing some upside. So that's my play. Sorry it's not too helpful. I'm going to take it BCH by request. Let's do it. Man, what do you want me to do with this? Honestly, Bitcoin pairing's pretty consistent. I'm going to do ABC because it's the same thing. Who cares? And it's on an exchange I like with better volume. So, this is technically a compressionary range, but I mean, on what scale? How do you define it? Right? Because you're getting converse expansions inside of a longer term compressionary range. And I guess if you want to try to scoop the swing low and just trade the range, go ahead. Let's see if we get a defined volatility overhead reading, shall we? Because that could be very helpful. Ooh, we do, except the range is ending. Well, okay. Yeah. I'll do it manually. 225, 1.2. Doesn't give me what I want. Nope, I can't really help you. If you want to try to buy swing low somehow off of some metric I don't know about, go ahead. Thanks for sending me that thing yesterday on Discord. Yep. Does your lesson package contain an explanation of the ACAT indicator? Definitely does. I go in depth on it. There is also a video playlist in the channel of a cat with charts going over each of the indicators in technical detail and light application detail. So he'll tell you what everything does, what all the settings do. But for actual strategy attached, I do recommend the course. PPT, please. Good alliteration. Let's check it out. That was nice. I can't believe I missed that. That was a great wave PM cross. I don't really look at the daily charts for altcoins too much. I need to do that more often because there are a lot of good deals during compressionary ranges and implied mean period volatility weighting to the upside. I like it. I'm not one to hold on to structures all that much, but these trends have an apparent taper and fall off, taper and fall off, taper and fall off. So if we're getting that same structure again, is this move here the swing high of the fall off? Or is it the initial pump of a new taper? I don't know. Kind of hard to tell. I do think it's going to go lower. I don't think it's just going to immediately start trending up here just based on previous price action. I know it's pretty thin. Volume's good, though. Yeah, when you have just the immediate upside, I guess people are going to be trying to be catching retracements. I would not be surprised if we came down to the 4,800 region, but I don't have any good metrics to define that other than just pattern recognition. Yeah, if you want, I'll talk to you guys tomorrow at 1 p.m. MST. You have a good day. Talk to you later. Ciao.